Far beyond the familiar planets, where sunlight weakens into a thin silver glint, another world circles in near total darkness. Out there, the sun is no longer warm or dominant. It is only a distant spark. For a long time, we thought the solar system ended with Pluto. That was the edge of the story. But in the deep reaches of the Kuiper Belt, something larger and more disruptive was waiting. Its name is Eris. Eris is not just another icy body. Its discovery forced astronomers to rethink what the word planet even means. It did not set out to change textbooks, but it did. Eris orbits about 3 times farther from the Sun than Pluto does. At that distance, sunlight is faint and cold. The Sun would look like a bright star rather than a blazing disk. It gives almost no heat. The surface below lies in permanent deep freeze. If you could stand there, you would feel an overwhelming stillness. No wind, no ocean, no sound. Temperatures plunge to around -400 degrees Fahrenheit, close to absolute zero, where atoms barely move. The cold shapes everything. Gases that float freely in Earth's atmosphere, like nitrogen and methane, cannot remain airborne there. They freeze solid. Over time, they fall and settle across the surface as pale frost, giving Eris an almost reflective brightness. In fact, it is one of the most reflective large objects in the outer solar system. Beneath that icy exterior lies a dense, rocky interior. Although Eris is roughly similar in size to Pluto, it is slightly more massive. It is compact and heavy for its dimensions, a solid mix of rock and ice compressed by its own gravity. Time also behaves differently on Eris. One orbit around the Sun takes about 557 Earth years. That means the last time Eris was in its current position, the world looked completely different. Entire eras of human history have unfolded while Eris barely crept along its path. To that distant world, centuries on Earth pass in what feels like a brief interval. Eris does not travel alone. It has a small moon called Dysnomia. The two circle a shared center of gravity in a slow, steady rhythm. Dysnomia likely formed after a violent collision long ago, debris gathering into a companion that now remains gravitationally bound to Eris. Together, they occupy a region far beyond the neat arrangement of the inner planets. The outer solar system is not orderly. It is scattered and complex. Many objects follow stretched, tilted orbits shaped by ancient gravitational encounters. When astronomers announced the discovery of Eris in 2005, it sparked more than excitement. It created a problem. For decades, students had memorized a list of 9 planets, but Eris was comparable in size to Pluto. If Pluto counted as a planet, why not Eris? And if Eris qualified, how many more similar bodies were waiting to be found? The debate led to a new definition of the word planet. In 2006, the International Astronomical Union introduced the category of dwarf planet. Pluto was reclassified, and Eris joined it in that new group. Eris did not dethrone Pluto out of rivalry. It simply exposed a flaw in our labeling. The universe does not organize itself to fit human categories. It is more varied and more complicated than simple lists allow. Today, Eris continues its long journey in deep silence. Its winters stretch for generations. Its sky remains dark. No spacecraft has visited it. No human eyes have seen it up close. And yet, it matters. Eris reminds us that the solar system is larger and stranger than we once believed. It shows that even at the cold edge of the Sun's reach, there are worlds with their own histories, their own chemistry, their own quiet presence. Long after our debates fade, Eris will still be there, moving slowly through the outer dark, keeping its silent orbit at the boundary of our star's domain. Standing under a night sky, it is easy to feel small. The distances are overwhelming. The timescales dwarf human history. But the act of observing, measuring, and understanding connects us to that vastness. We are made of atoms forged in ancient stars. The iron in our blood and the oxygen we breathe were once part of stellar interiors. The same physics that governs Eris governs us. When we extend our instruments into the darkness, we are not intruding. We are participating in a long tradition of curiosity. From the first humans who tracked the motions of visible planets to modern astronomers analyzing faint specks beyond Neptune, the impulse is the same: to know what lies beyond the horizon. The horizon keeps moving. There may still be undiscovered dwarf planets larger than Eris. Some researchers have proposed the existence of a hypothetical Planet 9, a massive, unseen body whose gravity might explain unusual orbital clustering among distant objects. Evidence remains indirect, and the search continues. Whether or not such a planet exists, the investigation itself pushes observational limits. Every improvement in telescope sensitivity opens a deeper layer of the sky. The outer solar system is not static. Collisions still occur. Surfaces are altered by micrometeorite impacts. Cosmic rays slowly modify chemical bonds in surface ices. Over immense spans of time, even frozen worlds evolve. If humanity endures long enough, future generations may witness changes we can only model. They may see Eris approach perihelion and brighten slightly. They may launch missions powered by technologies we have not yet imagined, cutting travel time from decades to years. For now, Eris remains a distant point of light, but it represents something larger than itself. It stands for the idea that the map is never complete, that the edges of knowledge are invitations, not barriers. Out there, beyond the warmth of the inner planets, beyond the ringed majesty of Saturn and the blue storms of Neptune, lies a cold archive of origins. It does not demand attention. It simply exists. And in its existence, it challenges us. It asks whether we are content with comfortable boundaries or whether we are willing to keep expanding them. The silence at the edge of the solar system is not empty. It is filled with unanswered questions. What processes shaped these distant bodies? How common are subsurface oceans beneath frozen crusts? Could prebiotic chemistry thrive in extreme cold? What does the distribution of mass in the outer regions reveal about the migration of giant planets billions of years ago? Each question leads to another. We may never set foot on Eris. We may never directly witness its frozen atmosphere forming and collapsing. But through observation and theory, we can approximate its story. And in doing so, we sharpen our understanding of our own place. Because ultimately, exploration is not only about distant worlds, it is about perspective. When we look outward and grasp the scale of the solar system, our everyday concerns shrink slightly. Borders blur. Conflicts feel less permanent. The fragile thinness of Earth's atmosphere becomes more apparent when contrasted with the vacuum beyond. From the edge, our world would be invisible to the naked eye. Yet it carries forests, oceans, cities, languages, memories. The outer darkness reminds us how rare that combination might be. Eris will continue its slow path, silent and indifferent. The Kuiper Belt will remain a vast ring of frozen remnants. The sun will burn steadily for billions more years before swelling into a red giant and reshaping the entire system. Long after that transformation, after the outer ices have melted or drifted away, the atoms that once formed Eris may disperse into interstellar space. becoming raw material for future stars and planets. Nothing is permanent. Not worlds, not stars. Not even the structures we use to define them. But curiosity endures as long as minds exist to ask questions. If this journey to the edge of the solar system sparked even a small sense of wonder, don't let it end here. Keep exploring. Read deeper. Follow new discoveries. Support the missions and research that push our reach farther into the dark. Look up at the night sky and remember that beyond the faintest visible star, there are worlds still waiting to be understood. Stay curious. The frontier is closer than you think.